So in my like film opening, I decided to do a melodrama because that's one of my favorite genres of subgenres of like the main genre of drama. And I mainly worked at conventions that like already focus on emotion, conflict, and exaggerated situations. And because of that, I used a lot of typical features you find in melodrama. But I also pushed them a lot further to what they usually are to make drama feel like more intense rather than realistic. Like I followed the basic structure you would usually see in like a melodrama film, but I didn't really utilize close up shots like that, other than my brother's face during like the really emotional parts, and I just mainly use like anger, sadness, and shock, which is like usually very common in this genre. But like I said before, I like heighten it to a point where it seems like over realistic rather than realism. And I also feel like the music that I use in certain parts, though I didn't use a lot of music, the music when I used music, I feel like it was very important to like my film opening, and it like heightened emotion and all that. And it made everything feel like a lot more intense for my audience. And like instead of like sticking to like standard melodrama, I feel like I exaggerated certain elements to make it seem more dramatic than usual, which is what I was kind of aiming for. The emotions between characters that like my one of my main guys are like more extreme, and like reactions like more bigger than what you would usually see. And I did this intentionally because like melodrama, it's meant to feel like heightened and intense, but like I wanted the audience to feel like constant like tension throughout my film opening. And like in some ways I also like challenge expectations by not making the story feel too balanced or realistic. I lean into like drama over realism, so like scenes are more emotionally charged than like natural. And I feel like this makes my product like stand out as clearly like stylized rather than a realistic drama, like I said before. And in terms of representation, like social representation, I like focus on how like social groups and relationships like are shown through emotion and behavior. Like my character, I feel like I represented my characters through the like reactions and dialogue and all that, especially like in that really like stressful situations. And because it's a melodrama, the reactions are like a lot more exaggerated, which like helps emphasize conflict and emotional pressure. And like I also tried to show how like issues between people can escalate quickly when emotions take over, as you can see in like the phone call scene, right? And even though it's exaggerated, I feel like it still reflects real situations where misunderstandings or conflict can become overwhelming. The idea was like show how social relationships in a way that feels like intense but still reliable at its core. And like overall, I feel like my product just used a lot of the traditional conventions you would see in melodrama, like strong emotion and all that, right? But I also like exaggerated it, like I said like many times before, to make the drama feel more intense. But at the same time, I feel like it represents social groups through like high end emotional interactions, showing like how relationships and conflict can become amplified like under pressure. So yeah, that's like how I like represent social groups or issues and all that, and like challenged conventions of my chosen subgenre.